Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UNS Endeavour, watching distant stars through the main view screen. His ship patrolled the outer rim territories where few aliens bothered to travel. The year was 2387, and humanity had been part of the Galactic Confederation for 50 years now. Jake remembered stories his grandfather told about the early days when humans first met alien civilizations. Back then, everyone thought it would mean peace and prosperity for Earth. Jake was not so sure anymore. The Galactic Confederation worked like a pyramid. The oldest alien races sat at the top, making all the important decisions. Younger species, like humans, were expected to follow orders without question. The Zilithians controlled most of the galaxy's military forces. They were tall reptilian creatures with cold yellow eyes and scales that changed color with their moods. The Vorthak handled trade and economics with their forearms and mathematical minds. The Krellin managed communications across space with their telepathic abilities. Humans were given simple jobs. They mined asteroids, grew food on colony worlds, and served as crew members on alien ships. Earth provided raw materials and followed the rules set by older civilizations. Most humans accepted this arrangement. They believed the aliens knew better because they had traveled among the stars for thousands of years, before humanity even invented the wheel. Jake's communication officer, Lieutenant Sam Parker, looked up from his station with a worried expression. "Captain, we're receiving a priority transmission from Earth. It's marked as eyes only for senior military personnel." "Put it through to my ready room," Jake said. He walked to the small office behind the bridge and activated the secure communication system. The holographic image of Commander Lisa Hayes appeared before him. Lisa worked at Earth's orbital command station, and Jake had known her since their days at the Academy. "Jake, what I'm about to tell you cannot leave that room," Lisa said. Her usually calm demeanor showed cracks of stress. "The Galactic Council has issued Directive 7749. It concerns Earth's future in the Confederation." Jake felt his stomach tighten. Galactic directives were not suggestions. They were orders that every member species had to follow or face consequences. "What kind of directive?" "Population reduction," Lisa said quietly. "The Zilithians have claimed Earth is their new colony world. They say our biosphere is perfect for their reproduction cycles. The directive requires us to reduce Earth's population by 80% within one solar cycle." The words hit Jake like a physical blow. Earth had 8 billion people. 80% meant over 6 billion humans would have to die or leave their home planet. "That's impossible. Where would we relocate that many people? And why wasn't this discussed through normal diplomatic channels?" "Because it wasn't a negotiation," Lisa replied. "The Zilithians have already claimed territorial rights through the Galactic Council. As the senior species, their needs take priority over ours." Admiral Ryan Clark at Sol Defense Command received the official notice 3 hours ago. Jake started pacing in the small room. "What happens if we refuse to comply?" "Orbital bombardment," Lisa said. "Complete sterilization of Earth's surface. The Zilithians have done this to 7 other worlds in the past century. Each time the Galactic Council ruled it was necessary for the greater good of galactic civilization." The communication ended, leaving Jake alone with thoughts that made his hands shake. He had always suspected that humanity's place in the galaxy was more precarious than most people realized. The aliens spoke of cooperation and mutual benefit, but their actions told a different story. Humans worked the dangerous jobs, settled the hostile worlds, and provided resources that kept galactic civilization running smoothly. In return, they received technology and protection that they were told they could never have achieved on their own. Meanwhile, deep beneath the Rocky Mountains in Colorado, Dr. Emma Rodriguez was working in a research facility that did not officially exist. The laboratory stretched for miles through reinforced tunnels, powered by geothermal energy that left no trace on orbital sensors. Emma had been studying quantum mechanics for 15 years, focusing on areas that the Galactic Confederation considered impossible or impractical. "The neural interface is stabilizing," Emma told her research partner, Dr. Kevin Brown. They were conducting experiments that would have been considered illegal if the aliens knew about them. Galactic law prohibited member species from developing certain technologies without proper oversight and approval. Quantum consciousness research was at the top of that list. Emma had discovered something remarkable during her studies. Human brain patterns could interact directly with quantum fields in ways that violated everything the galaxy understood about physics. While alien species relied on mechanical computers and logical processors, human minds could process quantum information through intuition and emotional responses. "Look at these readings," Kevin said, pointing to displays showing wave patterns that seemed to dance and flow like living things. "The test subject's neural activity is creating coherent quantum states across multiple dimensional layers. This shouldn't be possible according to galactic science." Emma smiled grimly. "Maybe that's because galactic science is wrong about a few things. Or maybe they know exactly what we can do, and they're trying to keep us from finding out." The research facility was one of dozens hidden across Earth and human colony worlds. For 30 years, a secret group of human scientists and military officers had been preparing for a day that might come. They called it the Contingency Project. The basic idea was simple. If humanity's position in the galaxy became untenable, they needed alternatives to complete dependence on alien technology and protection. Back in space, Admiral Ryan Clark was holding an emergency meeting with Earth's senior military leadership. The conference room aboard the orbital station was filled with men and women who had dedicated their lives to protecting humanity's interests. Now they faced the worst crisis in human history. "The Zilithian enforcement fleet is already moving toward our solar system," Admiral Clark announced. "Intelligence reports indicate they expect full compliance with Directive 7749. They've done this before to other species, and resistance has never been successful." General Peter Kane, head of Earth's ground forces, slammed his fist on the table. 6 billion people don't just disappear because some reptilian aliens want our planet. There has to be another way. "The math is simple," replied Colonel Amy Foster, from her position at the tactical display. "We have fusion weapons and basic shield technology. They have antimatter warheads and fleet formations that could glass our entire planet in minutes. A conventional military response would be suicide." Admiral Clark looked around the room at faces that showed determination, mixed with desperation. "What if I told you that conventional military response might not be our only option? What if humanity has capabilities that the galaxy doesn't know about?" The room fell silent. Everyone knew about rumors of secret projects and hidden research, but official policy was to maintain plausible deniability. If the aliens discovered that humans were developing unauthorized technology, it would provide justification for immediate intervention. "The contingency project has been active for 3 decades, Admiral Clark continued. "Dr. Rodriguez and her teams have made breakthroughs that change everything we thought we knew about human potential. But using those capabilities means there's no going back to our current relationship with the Confederation." The Zilithian fleet commanded by High Commander Vextar was approaching Earth's solar system with complete confidence. They had executed similar operations many times before. Younger species always submitted when faced with superior firepower and the backing of galactic law. Humans had been compliant members of the Confederation for 50 years. There was no reason to expect resistance now. What the Zilithians did not know was that humanity had been preparing for this moment since the day they first realized their true position in the galactic hierarchy. The question now was whether they were ready to use what they had learned. Captain Jake Morrison's crew worked through the night intercepting galactic communications that were never meant for human ears. His ship's upgraded sensors, disguised as standard equipment, could decode encrypted alien transmissions across multiple frequencies. What they discovered made Jake's blood run cold. Lieutenant Sam Parker brought the decoded messages to Jake's ready room with shaking hands. "Captain, you need to see this immediately. The Zilithians haven't just targeted Earth. They've been systematically eliminating promising species across 12 sectors for the past 2 centuries. Jake read through the intercepted files with growing horror. The Carillions had been wiped out 15 years ago after developing advanced biotechnology. The Nixari disappeared 3 decades back when their mathematicians solved faster-than-light travel equations that surpassed galactic standards. The Threxians were eliminated 40 years ago for discovering new energy sources that could have revolutionized space travel. They're not just conquering worlds, Jake realized. They're preventing any species from becoming advanced enough to challenge their authority. Humanity was never meant to survive long-term in their galactic order. The UI pattern was clear and terrifying. Every species that showed exceptional innovation or rapid technological development became a target for elimination. The Galactic Confederation was not a partnership between civilizations. It was a system designed to maintain the dominance of ancient species while preventing younger ones from reaching their full potential. Back on Earth, General Peter Kane was activating defense networks that had been hidden for decades. Deep beneath major cities, massive installations hummed to life for the first time since their construction. These were not the simple fusion reactors and basic shield generators that humanity officially possessed. They were antimatter production facilities and quantum phase defense systems that operated on principles the galaxy believed were impossible for humans to understand. Bring the Continental Defense Grid online, General Kane ordered from his command center buried 3 miles beneath the Pentagon. Initialize all blackout protocols and prepare for full operational security. The transformation happening across Earth was invisible to orbital sensors, but massive in scope. Underground factories that had been disguised as mining operations began producing weapons and ships using technologies that humans had secretly developed over 30 years. Fusion reactors that aliens believed were humanity's most advanced power source were actually just covers for antimatter generators that produced energy levels beyond galactic comprehension. Lieutenant Colonel Amy Foster was leading a covert mission to the abandoned Martian research colonies that the galaxy believed had failed due to human incompetence. In reality, these facilities had been deliberately shut down and hidden to provide secret research locations where human scientists could work without alien oversight. The Red Planet had become humanity's greatest technological development center. The Miura phase drive prototypes are ready for field testing, reported Dr. Kevin Brown as Amy's team arrived at the primary research facility. We can move ships through spacetime in ways that bypass all known detection methods. Our vessels can literally exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Amy examined the sleek ships that looked nothing like the bulky human vessels the galaxy was familiar with. These craft were organic-looking, almost alive in their curves and surfaces. They could phase in and out of normal space, travel faster than light without using conventional hyperspace lanes, and carry weapons that manipulated gravity itself. How many of these do we have? Amy asked. 300 fully operational ships, Kevin replied. Another 1,000 in final production stages. The aliens think we're still struggling with basic fusion propulsion while we've actually mastered technologies they consider mythical. Meanwhile, Dr. Emma Rodriguez was making the final preparations for humanity's greatest secret weapon. The Quantum Consciousness Network was not just a communication system. It was a method for linking human minds across space instantaneously, allowing for perfect coordination and collective problem-solving that operated faster than any galactic supercomputer. The network can connect every human in the galaxy simultaneously, Emma explained to Admiral Clark during a secure transmission. Our minds work differently than alien thought patterns. We can process emotional and intuitive information in ways that their logical systems cannot predict or counter. When we activate the network, humanity becomes something the galaxy has never encountered before. The network terminals were hidden in human communities across hundreds of worlds. They looked like simple communication devices or entertainment systems, but they were actually quantum consciousness interfaces that could link human neural patterns across infinite distances without any delay. The aliens had never discovered them because they operated on principles that galactic science declared impossible. Admiral Clark was coordinating the most complex military operation in human history from his command center above Earth. Operation Silent Dawn would activate every hidden human capability simultaneously across the galaxy. The plan required perfect timing and absolute secrecy until the moment of execution. Phase 1 initiates in 6 hours, Clark announced to his senior staff. All human colonies will begin evacuation procedures under cover of routine maintenance operations. Phase 2 activates our hidden defense networks. Phase 3 reveals our true technological capabilities to the galaxy for the first time. Commander Lisa Hayes was overseeing the evacuation of human civilians from alien-controlled worlds. What appeared to be standard transport operations were actually rescue missions using advanced stealth technology. Human families that had lived on Zilithian worlds for generations were being quietly relocated to secret colonies that the galaxy did not know existed. Transport Group 7 has successfully evacuated the Kepler station personnel, Lisa reported. The aliens believe it's a scheduled rotation of workers. They have no idea that we're systematically removing every human from their territory. The Zilithian fleet under High Commander Vextar was approaching Earth's solar system with complete confidence. Their intelligence reports indicated that humans possessed only basic space travel capabilities and simple defensive weapons. The fleet expected to find a helpless planet populated by primitive beings who would submit to superior firepower. Maintain standard approach vector, Vextar ordered his fleet commanders. Human resistance will be minimal and easily overcome. Our occupation forces should be able to secure the planet within one planetary rotation. What the Zilithians did not realize was that their communications were being monitored and their fleet movements tracked by technology they could not detect. Human ships were already moving into position around the alien fleet, invisible to their sensors and undetectable by their most advanced scanning equipment. The galaxy was about to discover that humanity had been playing a very different game than anyone realized. For 50 years, humans had appeared to be grateful junior members of galactic civilization. In reality, they had been preparing for war while building an entirely separate technological foundation based on capabilities that alien science insisted were impossible. The Zilithian fleet would arrive at Earth expecting to find defenseless humans ready for conquest. Instead, they would encounter something that would change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. Humanity was about to reveal that they had never been the primitive species that everyone believed them to be. Admiral Ryan Clark stood before the massive display screen, showing real-time positions of human forces across the galaxy. The moment had finally arrived to execute the most audacious plan in human history. He took a deep breath and gave the order that would change everything. "Cut all lines," Clark commanded. "Earth is going dark. Execute Operation Silent Dawn immediately." Across the galaxy, every human communication relay, trade station, and diplomatic outpost went silent at exactly the same moment. The coordinated shutdown was so precise that alien monitoring stations registered it as a single event, rather than thousands of individual disconnections. In an instant, humanity vanished from galactic civilization as completely as if they had never existed. The first phase began with communication blackouts. Human operators at alien facilities simply walked away from their posts without explanation. Trade negotiations that had been ongoing for months were abandoned mid-sentence. Diplomatic meetings ended when human representatives excused themselves and never returned. The galaxy's integrated systems, which had relied on human workers for decades, suddenly found themselves operating with massive gaps in personnel and expertise. Captain Jake Morrison received his final orders from Earth Command through the Quantum Consciousness Network. His ship and crew were now part of a rescue fleet tasked with collecting human populations from alien worlds before anyone realized what was happening. The mission required perfect timing and absolute silence. "All human vessels are to maintain radio silence," Jake announced to his crew. "From this moment forward, we communicate only through quantum links. As far as the galaxy knows, we no longer exist." The UNS Endeavour began its journey toward the Vorthak trade systems, where thousands of human families worked in mining operations. Jake's ship used its phase drive technology to slip through space undetected, moving faster than light without creating the energy signatures that conventional hyperspace travel produced. To alien sensors, the ship simply was not there. Commander Lisa Hayes coordinated the great disconnect from her command center above Earth. Her screens showed the systematic withdrawal of humanity from every aspect of galactic civilization. Human crews abandoned alien vessels in deep space. Research teams evacuated joint scientific projects without taking their data. Military units serving with alien forces simply disappeared during routine patrol missions. Phase 2 is complete. Lisa reported to Admiral Clark. All human personnel have been extracted from alien territories. Total evacuation achieved in 4 hours and 17 minutes with 0 casualties and no detected resistance. The scale of the operation was staggering. Over 12 million humans had been living and working throughout galactic space. Every single one had been evacuated using ships and technologies that the aliens did not know existed. The evacuees were transported to hidden colony worlds that had been secretly established over 3 decades using resources that were officially listed as lost or destroyed. General Peter Kane activated Earth's true defensive systems as the Zilithian fleet approached the outer edge of the solar system. What the aliens saw on their sensors were the basic fusion reactors and simple shield generators that humanity had always displayed. What they could not detect were the quantum phase defense networks that surrounded every planet and major installation in the system. Defensive Grid Alpha is fully operational, reported his tactical officer. All antimatter weapon systems are charged and ready. Phase manipulation fields are active around Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. The defensive technology worked by shifting sections of spacetime into parallel dimensions where conventional weapons could not reach them. Ships and installations could exist in normal space while remaining completely untouchable by any force that operated within standard physics. It was like being invisible and invulnerable at the same time. High Commander Vextar of the Zilithian fleet was becoming increasingly frustrated as his communication attempts to Earth went unanswered. Standard galactic protocols required member species to respond to official transmissions within 2 standard hours. Earth had been completely silent for 6 hours. Increase transmission power and broadcast on all frequencies, Vextar ordered his communications officer. These primitive humans must understand that their silence will not be tolerated. The Zilithian fleet had entered the solar system expecting to find a helpless world ready for conquest. Instead, they encountered something unprecedented in galactic history. Earth was not responding to any form of communication, but it was also not showing any signs of panic or preparation for invasion. The planet appeared to be going about its normal activities while completely ignoring the massive alien fleet that had arrived to destroy it. Dr. Emma Rodriguez activated the quantum consciousness network at its full capacity for the first time. Instantly, every human in the galaxy became connected through a shared mental link that allowed for perfect coordination and collective decision-making. The network did not control individual minds, but instead allowed them to share information and insights faster than any computer system could process data. Network integration is complete, Emma announced to her research team. All human colonies are now operating as a single, coordinated civilization. We have achieved something that no other species in galactic history has ever accomplished. The network allowed humans to coordinate their actions across hundreds of light years without any communication delay. Military units could respond to threats instantly. Civilian populations could be evacuated with perfect timing, and strategic decisions could be made collectively by millions of minds working together. It was like having a single organism with the intelligence and creativity of 8 billion individual humans. Lieutenant Colonel Amy Foster led the first demonstration of humanity's true military capabilities. Her squadron of phase drive ships materialized inside the Zilithian fleet formation without triggering any alarms or detection systems. The alien vessels continued their approach toward Earth, completely unaware that human warships were moving freely among them. Target the flagship's communication array, Amy ordered her pilots. Disable their ability to coordinate fleet movements but leave their life support and engines intact. We want them confused, not dead. The attack was executed with surgical precision. Human weapons that manipulated gravity itself reached through the Zilithian ship's shields and armor, as if they were not there. Critical systems were selectively disabled while leaving the crew unharmed. The alien flagship suddenly found itself unable to communicate with the rest of the fleet, but their sensors showed no evidence of an attack. Captain Jake Morrison's rescue fleet successfully evacuated the last human population from alien territory, just as news of Earth's communication blackout spread through galactic networks. The timing was perfect. By the time alien authorities realized that humans were withdrawing from their territories, every human civilian was already safely relocated to hidden colonies. Admiral Clark watched the final phase of the operation unfold from his command center. The galaxy had always seen humanity as dependent junior partners who could not survive without alien protection and technology. They were about to discover that humans had been preparing for independence for 30 years, while building capabilities that surpassed anything in galactic civilization. Earth had not just gone silent. Earth had declared its independence from a galactic order that had never intended to let humanity survive. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session on the ancient world of Nexus Prime, as reports flooded in from across known space. Council leader Zethvar, a towering crystalline being who had ruled for 8 centuries, struggled to understand the information streaming across the holographic displays. Humanity had simply vanished from galactic civilization overnight. The humans have abandoned their posts on 17 major trade routes, reported Trade Minister Vexilon. Our economic projections show a 12% drop in efficiency across all sectors. The mining operations on Kepler 7 have completely shut down without human workers. Defense Minister Gorthak, a 6-armed military strategist, added his own disturbing news. Human personnel serving with our fleets have disappeared without explanation. Over 40,000 trained specialists are simply gone. Our joint operations with Earth colonies show no response to standard communications. The Council had ruled the galaxy for millennia through careful control of information and technology. Younger species were given limited access to advanced systems while being kept dependent on older civilizations for guidance and protection. The sudden withdrawal of an entire species from this carefully managed system was unprecedented and deeply troubling. Meanwhile, Dr. Emma Rodriguez was broadcasting humanity's first and only message to the galactic communication networks. The transmission went out simultaneously on every frequency used by alien civilizations, ensuring that no government or military force could intercept or suppress it before it reached the general population. This is Dr. Emma Rodriguez speaking for humanity. Her voice echoed across thousands of worlds. Humanity formally withdraws from the Galactic Confederation effective immediately. Any attempt to pursue, contact, or interfere with human territories will be met with appropriate defensive measures. This is humanity's only warning. The message lasted exactly 30 seconds, and then every human transmitter in the galaxy went permanently silent. No explanations were given, no negotiations were offered, no diplomatic channels remained open. Humanity had severed all connections with galactic civilization as completely as if they had never existed. Captain Jake Morrison's stealth fleet began appearing in major galactic systems, not to attack, but to demonstrate capabilities that violated several fundamental laws of physics as the aliens understood them. His ships would materialize in the middle of heavily defended space stations, remain visible for exactly 60 seconds, then phase out of normal space without triggering any weapon systems or defensive responses. Maintain demonstration pattern. 7. Jake ordered his squadron leaders. We want them to see what we can do without feeling directly threatened. The goal is confusion, not conquest. The human ships moved through solid matter as easily as through empty space. They appeared inside military bases, commercial centers, and government facilities across dozens of systems. Security forces found themselves staring at vessels that clearly existed but could not be targeted by any known weapons technology. The Zilithian invasion fleet discovered they were trapped in Earth's solar system by forces they could not comprehend. High Commander Vextar ordered his ships to retreat to hyperspace only to find that the space around Sol had been altered in ways that prevented faster-than-light travel while still allowing normal movement between planets. The humans have created some kind of spatial distortion field, reported his chief science officer. We can move at sublight speeds but cannot access hyperspace corridors. Our ships are effectively imprisoned in this system. Admiral Ryan Clark revealed the full scope of human preparation during a private meeting with his senior command staff. For 30 years, humanity had been building alternative supply chains, communication networks, and technological development programs completely separate from galactic oversight. Earth had never been dependent on alien civilization. Operation Silent Dawn was not just about military withdrawal, Clark explained to his officers. We have been establishing independent human colonies, research facilities, and manufacturing centers throughout unexplored regions of space. The galaxy knows about perhaps 10% of human space activities. The hidden colonies were located in star systems that galactic surveys had classified as uninhabitable or resource-poor. Human technology had made these worlds livable, while keeping them invisible to alien detection methods. Over 6 million humans now lived in completely independent settlements that the galaxy did not know existed. Commander Lisa Hayes coordinated the psychological warfare aspects of humanity's strategy from her orbital command station. The complete information blackout was designed to trigger the galaxy's worst fear, which was facing an unknown and unpredictable threat that operated outside all established patterns of behavior. The aliens pride themselves on logical analysis and predictable responses, Lisa explained to her intelligence staff. By providing no information and no communication, we force them to make decisions based on incomplete data and growing uncertainty. Their own analytical systems become their weakness. The strategy was working perfectly. Across galactic space, alien governments were paralyzed by their inability to understand what humanity was doing or planning. Military forces designed to fight conventional enemies found themselves completely unprepared for opponents who could appear anywhere and disappear without warning. General Peter Kane's quantum phase defense systems proved devastatingly effective against the few galactic species that attempted to locate human territories by force. 3 separate Krellin scout fleets sent to investigate human colony worlds simply vanished without sending any distress signals or final transmissions. The fleets are not destroyed, Kane reported to Admiral Clark. Our defense networks relocated them to empty space approximately 50 light-years from their intended destinations. Their crews have no memory of encountering human forces, and their navigation systems show no record of the incidents. The technology worked by shifting attacking vessels into parallel dimensional spaces where they could be safely transported to harmless locations. The crews experienced the relocation as a brief navigation error, followed by finding themselves in unexplored space, with no explanation for how they had gotten there. Dr. Emma Rodriguez's quantum consciousness network had evolved beyond simple communication into something that allowed humans to process complex problems collectively, faster than any galactic supercomputer. Individual human creativity, combined with network processing power, created solutions that no alien species could predict or counter. We are solving technological challenges in hours that should take years, Emma reported to the Research Council. The network allows 8 billion human minds to work together while maintaining individual creativity and independence. We have become something entirely new in galactic history. The network enabled humans to coordinate massive engineering projects across multiple star systems simultaneously. Hidden shipyards produced vessels using technologies that combined human innovation with quantum consciousness integration. The result was a fleet of ships that operated more like living organisms than mechanical constructs. 6 months after humanity's withdrawal, the galactic economy was collapsing in sectors that had depended on human innovation and problem-solving abilities. The logical species that dominated galactic civilization discovered they could not adapt quickly enough to challenges that required creative thinking and intuitive solutions. The galaxy's plans for Earth had not just ended when humans cut off communication. They had revealed that the supposedly primitive junior species had been the hidden foundation that kept galactic civilization functioning. Without human adaptability and creativity, the ancient galactic order was discovering it could not survive on logic alone. 1 year after humanity's withdrawal from galactic civilization, the consequences were rippling through every corner of known space. Captain Jake Morrison established the first human autonomous zone around the Centauri system, where quantum consciousness networks allowed human colonies to function with unprecedented cooperation and efficiency. The zone operated under principles that the galaxy had never seen before. Population growth is exceeding all projections, reported Colony Administrator Dr. Sarah Mitchell during a network-linked planning session. With quantum consciousness coordination, we can support twice the population density of comparable alien worlds while maintaining higher living standards and zero-resource conflicts. The Human Autonomous Zone demonstrated what became possible when human creativity was enhanced by collective intelligence networks. Problems that would have taken galactic civilizations years to solve were addressed in days through the combined efforts of millions of minds working together while maintaining individual independence and innovation. Trade Minister Vexilon of the Galactic Council faced economic reports that grew more desperate each month. 17 major trade routes had become completely non-functional, without human workers to maintain the complex systems that kept goods moving between star systems. The logical alien minds could follow established procedures, but could not adapt when unexpected problems arose. The Andromedan Shipping Consortium has collapsed completely, Vexilon reported to the Emergency Council session. Their automated systems failed when asteroid storms disrupted normal routes. Without human crews who could improvise alternative solutions, they lost 43 cargo fleets in 6 months. Similar failures were occurring throughout galactic civilization. Manufacturing centers designed by alien engineers worked perfectly under normal conditions, but broke down when faced with unusual challenges. The creative problem-solving abilities that humans had provided were not just helpful additions to galactic society. They had become essential for keeping complex systems running smoothly. General Peter Kane's defensive strategy had evolved into something that terrified galactic military planners. Any alien fleet that attempted to locate human territories found themselves experiencing what military analysts called reality displacement events. Ships would arrive at their intended destinations only to discover empty space where intelligence reports indicated human colonies should exist. The humans are not hiding their colonies, explained Krellin military analyst Vorthon to his superiors. They are shifting them into dimensional spaces that our sensors cannot access. We know where they are, but we cannot reach them or interact with them in any way. The technology allowed human settlements to exist in the same physical locations as before while being completely unreachable by conventional means. Alien fleets could orbit planets that appeared uninhabited, while human cities thrived in parallel dimensional layers that occupied the same space but remained invisible and untouchable. Dr. Emma Rodriguez's quantum consciousness network had grown beyond individual human colonies to connect the entire species across galactic distances. The network now included over 15 million humans living in hidden settlements throughout unexplored space. Collective problem-solving had reached levels that produced technological advances at an unprecedented rate. We solved faster than light communication 30 years ago, Emma explained during a network conference that included researchers from hundreds of different star systems. Now we are developing technologies that manipulate time flow and dimensional barriers. We are becoming something that the galaxy has never encountered before. The advances were not just technical but social and cultural as well. Human communities, connected through quantum consciousness, had eliminated most forms of conflict and competition, while enhancing individual creativity and personal achievement. People could pursue their interests and talents while contributing to collective goals through the network. Admiral Ryan Clark received the formal apology from the Galactic Council 18 months after Operation Silent Dawn began. The message arrived through an automated probe that was left in neutral space between human and galactic territories. Council leader Zethvar's words were carefully chosen to avoid any appearance of weakness while acknowledging the new reality. The Galactic Council recognizes the sovereignty of human territories and requests negotiations to establish new diplomatic relations, the message stated. Previous directives regarding human populations are hereby rescinded and formal apologies are extended for any misunderstandings that may have occurred. Clark read the message with satisfaction but no surprise. The Quantum Consciousness Network had predicted this outcome within 6 months of humanity's withdrawal from galactic civilization. The aliens had no choice but to acknowledge human independence, because their own society was failing without human contributions. Commander Lisa Hayes drafted humanity's response to the galactic apology. The terms were non-negotiable and reflected the new balance of power that humanity's withdrawal had created. Human civilization was no longer asking for a place in galactic society. They were dictating the conditions under which they might consider limited interaction. Humanity acknowledges the Galactic Council's message, Hayes wrote. We will consider establishing limited diplomatic contact under the following conditions. First, complete recognition of human sovereignty over all territories currently occupied by human populations. Second, reparations equivalent to 50 years of resources extracted from human worlds under previous arrangements. Third, establishment of humanity as an independent galactic power with full rights to expand and develop without interference. The final condition was the most significant. Humanity was demanding recognition not as a junior member of galactic civilization but as an equal power capable of independent action and territorial expansion. The species that had once been relegated to mining asteroids and growing food was now claiming the right to build their own interstellar empire. Lieutenant Colonel Amy Foster led the first human diplomatic mission to meet with galactic representatives in 3 years. Her ship, the UNS Independence, demonstrated human technological advancement by arriving at the meeting point before the alien delegation had even departed their home systems. The vessel had traveled faster than light without using any known method of hyperspace navigation. "How did you arrive so quickly?" asked the Vorthak trade representative who served as the galaxy's chief negotiator. "We have developed travel methods that do not depend on hyperspace corridors," Amy replied calmly. "Human technology has advanced considerably since our withdrawal from galactic oversight. We no longer require permission or assistance to go wherever we choose." The demonstration was intentional and effective. The galaxy's most advanced species were discovering that humanity had surpassed their technological capabilities in multiple areas, while developing entirely new fields of science that operated on principles alien civilizations had never imagined. High Commander Vextar and his Zilithian fleet were finally released from the solar system after formally renouncing all claims to Earth and signing agreements that established human territory as permanently off-limits to alien interference. The fleet that had arrived to eliminate 80% of humanity departed as guests who had been allowed to witness the birth of a new galactic power. Admiral Clark stood in the lunar observation deck looking down at Earth, which glowed with the lights of 8 billion humans who had not only survived but thrived under the most severe threat in their history. The planet that was scheduled for population reduction had become the center of an expanding human civilization that stretched across dozens of star systems. "The galaxy thought it knew humans," Clark said to his assembled staff as they watched ships departing for new colony worlds. "The galaxy was wrong.